Okay, friends, traders, harmonic people alike, let's get on it now, right now. Started up here with the Ponzi coming in, Lieutenant Ponzi today, guys. He's going to do the deep dive on the dirty degenerate crypto so you don't have to, and we can go spot him up and speculate like crazy. Crypto making a little push right now as we speak. Interesting stuff. Give me an audio check. I'm doing all right, pal. How you doing? What's up, Chipper Flipper? David, Alec, Ponzi's in the house. Give a shout out to Ponzi. We'll bring him in a few minutes here. Sound check. Let me know. I think I got it all worked out after a couple of issues. It's fine. It's good. Look, I'm not going to work too hard at this, but I'll put together a quality program. And everyone else, let's get the biz right out of the way. Get your TradingView platform. Damn it. HPC at sr-analyst.com is where it happens. 2 weeks free trial. And let's start right off. HPC 30 to get the 30-day free package for the software and our gold membership so you can deep dive for free to see what we do. I don't do any promotion outside of this, but everyone else, get over. HarmonicTrader.com, become a basic member, and then all the resources right there. It just starts with a simple email. Believe me, you'll know if you're a harmonic person or not. It only takes about a minute to see if the light bulb goes on right now. Desi, you win, all right? Let's get you set up. And how about Fed, F-E-D, because I know you have not won before. Desi, I think you won before, but we'll stretch it out to you. So top two, Fed and Desi are the winners. Get that out of the way. Well, maybe we'll give one more towards the end. But guys, HarmonicTrader.com is the place for your harmonic journey. Let it begin there. Get everything you want for free. That's how I like to do it. Make it easy. I'm not here to sell anybody on anything other than do you realize we live in a harmonic world? I hope you do. Especially if you're going to do crypto and other garbage like that. And I mean garbage because this is pure speculation, what we're going to talk about today. And last week we talked about the triggers, the HSI triggers, and we've been talking about a few plays for the last few weeks. Once the smoke cleared, for some people that's good, others people not so much, but hey, whatever your flavor is, I don't judge. Before we jump, guys, where the hell is this market going? Straight up, right? Full return phase. I'm just going to get these major markets out of the way, and I just want everybody to know we're in full 886 mode. Okay, that's where this thing's going. Here you go. 886 is on all of this. If it's NASDAQ, if it's S&P, I'm going to throw out some levels so you don't have to think more than what the ratios tell us. That's what we're doing here. All levels. We're on a full reset, full retest here. 886, S&P. That's 6080 minimum. 6,800. You got another 180 to the upside before you even have to worry about anything. And NASDAQ, again, doing amazing things to follow up yesterday's 1,000. This has a little further in terms of percentage catch up, but guys, take it in chunks. 886. We're clear. 21, 21.9, 22. Okay? Any questions? I didn't think so. We're in the return phase. We've been talking about this for a long time, ever since, the big moves. The S&P move here at 17.8. Go on back. Hop levels 21.6. Full 886 is at 21.9. Build your zone around that. Currently 21.3. Yep. Awesome. Yes, do hit the like button, hit subscribe. We're here Tuesday, Thursday, okay, every week. So get the notification around 12:30. I'm trying to get tighter to that number, to that time. But folks, what has happened over the last 2, 3 months is going to go down in history, maybe in another book someday. I don't know. I've got book author fatigue. I don't think I'll ever, if I do one more book, that would be all. I don't know. I average like one book every 10 years. Yes, I'm that old. But check it out. I mean, the S&P 500 has always been about this big crab zone, and we're there, hit T1 48.73, and man, haven't looked back. It's going to end up being a V shape. I think in the next show we'll talk about what are the crazier possibilities. I don't want to go there yet, but I'm going to have to say that this is potentially this type 1 move. Okay, down to target 1. That was the generational opportunity of retracement that I have discussed for a while. And should it ever look back from there? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see in the coming weeks. But for something that's already looking like a summer rally, we got a long way to go. Imagine with all of this going on that you are just basically back to where you were in March. Seems pretty nuts, but that's what's going on. Absolutely. Guys, winners, as other people come on in. Nice, J Riz. Great to hear it. Welcome back. What's up, Victoria? How are you today? It flies, it dies. Cactus Leo. Everyone else is in there. Where you want to go? And I invite everyone over to join the Discord. You don't have to. We got tons of stuff there. It's a cool group. I don't want a big group. So look, hit the Discord link there. That's your invite. You have any questions? You want to get the video link from our last session back in March, and then our next session looks like June 20th. How to detect failed harmonic patterns. That's going to happen. I will formally put together a schedule itinerary of that in the next few days. But that's going to go down. Why not? Those sessions have been good for people. Better than I thought. That's the major markets, guys. My longs like Tesla and Taiwan Semi and Toll Brothers, TSM, TOL. Amazon, they're just going to keep working. Amazon's been beautiful. It just went a little too far too fast on the downside, but whatever. Let's get to the crypto space and bring in Ponzi here. Ponzi, give me 2 more minutes to just do a quick crypto update on Bitcoin and the like, and then we're going to bring him in. Not waste any time. The big news on Bitcoin is that we are at the absolute 886 swing. Little shark. You piece it together. I'm not really too concerned. Maybe you pause here. Are we going to retrace? Not as long as we have HSI expanding in the overbought, kids. That's where you can really see things continue, accelerate, and then go higher from there. I do think this is a potential breakout point. The one thing I want to see is green fat bullish candle by Sunday to set it off. We get that green candle and we push that amplified reading back up into the overbought. Give it time. Okay, give it time. But we push that there. Then we can get this to go to finally do the move. What are the levels? So you guys know I'm big on levels. I want to, we can talk all day long here, but it's worthless unless you have some concrete price levels to assess. And for me, okay, we said 97K was the possibility of going higher for acceleration, and then 105 because it's the 886, and that could even stretch up as high as 108. But then above here, you have nothing until 115. Okay, go back. What are we looking at? Daily time frame. We've got patterns. Everything's looking, all nice. Let me clean this up. Here. Okay, we know about the big type 1, which was, I'm really happy about this. If you're new or you're just getting caught up, we were way in front of that retracement to 76, said 76 is the end of the retracement. We go back up for the type 2. Just check my X feed, check prior sessions. If you want to know if harmonic patterns work, and that's what we're doing, especially in the crypto space, okay, it has been, I don't think we've missed a pivot. We have not really missed a pivot in a long time, and we've been just spot on pivoting this stuff. Last year it was 50-60 to go to 102.5, and then down from 102.5 to 76.5, and now back up. So now what I want to get you guys in on is where's the true acceleration, and what kind of acceleration? Well, I'm looking at this. And the monthly extensions for Bitcoin still are going to rule the major trend. Nothing changes. We're still in this absolutely sweet regression channel. That's your railroad track to higher prices. And I'm going to say this. Okay, there's a lot going on structurally with this chart. Yes, we're back here. We're retesting that dot trigger. That was one of the reasons why we're thinking, let it come back in a little bit. But to me, what this looks like is a couple things. One, it's a 1902 overspill. What does that mean? It's the 1618. That was our goal. Minimum price discovery objective was 1618. And then we were building that zone of saying, okay, take that with a little touch higher, 1902. That's the big zone. So I don't even care really 115, 105, 115. That's your big monthly overshoot target. Where do things get crazy above 115? Cycle possibilities are still much higher. Okay, and that's I'm not going to stray away from it. It just take it in chunks where, so especially for new folks, 2618, that's our extreme possibility. 155. So just know, above 115, there's nada. We go extreme. We continue in a serial hardcore move that goes higher and higher. And I'm going to say, 155 to the 3618, which was the last cycle target, 210. That's going to take time. But if you want to know what are the maximum possibilities here, okay, above 115 and not until. So let's bring it back down. Calm down. And let's just say, all right, we're going to build that zone. 105 to 115. And then we'll assess the crazy move of what can happen. I mean, look, everything from the last 2 or 3 months that was supposed to be garbage, bear market retracement. No, we were just saying normal retracement, digest what happened last year and get it going. Okay. Today we're going to talk about those speculative crypto. And we're going to bring Ponzi in here. Ponzi, get ready. One more minute. I'll dial you. I'm going to say get ready here. And get you on the Discord there. Make sure we're good. I'm going to type you there in a second. The few that I have mentioned in this stream over the last few weeks, okay, that are like this. And the way to look at these there's, we're minimum 2-3x. That's the objective. Garbage like Giga Chad, okay, I know. I know older folks are laughing at me saying, "What are you doing?" I talked to a private equity guy who is, it was interesting stuff. Asked him what he does, and just said, "Yeah, hey, I'm a sit at home retail day trader kind of a person, investor." He's like, "Do you do crypto and Bitcoin?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "It's been good to me." He just kind of rolled his eyes, but that's okay. And we know you don't have to participate in this. And something like this, I'd be embarrassed to even bring up, but not with you degenerates, because we know what can happen here. Giga Chad was something we talked about, 2 cents, and all of these type of crypto, Ponzi and I talked about back in October. They had the massive run shortly thereafter, and it came all the way back down. So we're getting these on a full retrace, reset area that, hey, happened before, happening again, that these can go. Do they have patterns? Yes. Now, this is what I'm looking at for GigaChat, because notice the Gartley that just popped up, and we have an HSI on the daily. Nothing yet. I mean, that's not complete until today, and we would even need a bearish candle thereafter. But the objective is 4.8 cents from 2. That's a double. Okay, that's one double. Then the other one that I told you guys about, which is, and withhold judgment, but I don't care. This mother, it's a mother of a happy Mother's Day belated to all the moms out there. But mother, another one here. Okay, we were down there under a penny, 8 tenths. That was 2 weeks ago. I just popped something up on X as a clip from 2 weeks ago about why it's not going to happen immediately. Although some of these are popping off like they are, like they're going to go to the moon right now. So let's see that one. These are the ones I specifically mentioned. Ponzi's going to have better ones than even me, because he's deep on these. But the other one was Myro, and Myro 2.1 cents for a T1, up to 7 cents, 7.1, 7.2. As a trader, okay, I can take that. Hey, if I know that I've got high probability with this to go to target one, and I recommend that everyone gets that, takes that as a minimum. Go slow, take it in chunks. But for me, that 2-3x type of move, we're in the crypto Olympic season, which a lot of people think has 4 or 5 months. People thinking this is going to run to the end of the year. I said this last week that if we weren't in that crypto cycle, I probably wouldn't be messing with this. And yeah, to some degree, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, but so be it. I don't care. I really don't care what the name is. If it was a long-term investment, and I said this to you guys that when the market was down, I was focused on Mag 7 as long-term, like baseball card, hold them for forever stocks. Amazon, Meta, Tesla, and that's working out. But I'm not selling. I've got my targets, but these were all intended to be long-term moves. So that's good. Those are good. And then one or two of the others, stuff with patterns, okay? XLM. I think we're seeing finally acceleration. Yep, there was the head and shoulders. Okay, we got to blast this dot currently happening, but that's great construction. The better part of it is this. Simple fact, you're breaking out of the downtrend finally, going back, and many of you know what we did here. Absolutely slayed this thing from 9 to 10 cents up to 53. Here's the next place to jump on. Great. What's up, Marbob? Yeah, I like that. Always trading risk ponsibly. I agree with that. All right. Speaking of pawns, okay. Let me Let me get him. I'm going to ring him, make sure we're good. And ring, ring, bring him in there.
Oh,
Hey, Sir
I can hear you.
Pons. Awesome
How's
to
it
hear
going?
you. Great, great. Everyone else, give me a sound check on the Pons. Let's have some Pons fun. And you guys let me know. What are we doing here? We sound good?
Everybody hear me?
Yep. While you're doing that, I'm going to show the other one we had talked about, which is Dog Whiff Hat. As ridiculous as these names are. There we go. Guys, give me a sound check. I need to know.
Is it working?
Pons is here. What's up, Neil? Sounds good. Thank you, Neil. Appreciate it. Okay, everybody. One only Lieutenant Ponzi over on X. You have to follow him uh, because he's a good dude and he really knows his stuff with this. He is. You've tried to get me down the rabbit hole even more so than I ever want. But you know,
Yep.
I think I think I have an age limit. I think it's something where I feel there's only, so far I can take this or that I need to take it. He's on chain getting all of these crazy new coins and then getting the 10x moves and it just is such an incredible space that a lot of people that are old like me are not going to mess with it because they don't, maybe the ignorance gets in the way. I don't know. I just think it's probably a young man's game more so than a lot of people like to admit. Hold on, I'm trying to get there. You go. Let me
Yeah,
bring.
I can definitely agree with that, especially with just how society is now. People are looking for that reward like really quick, especially the younger kids. So they're looking for the quick wins versus like holding in longer term. But there, a lot of these you can make a lot of money pretty quick if you're just trading it versus holding it. Like none of these are long-term investments. They're all going to go to zero at the end of this. So
Yeah, here's Ponzi's on X at Lieutenant Ponzi. Please give him a follow. Get over there. And again, he's going to put stuff up that I wouldn't even dare to do. But he's usually right on the. He's been sending me stuff. He'd be like, "Hey, check this out. It's like a 5 million, $10 million market cap." And then like 2 weeks later, he's like, "Yeah, I went to 50 million." So uh, at Lieutenant Ponzi, and for those that can't spell, Lieutenant is spelled Lieutenant, and then Ponzi, we all know that. So get over there. And if you guys want, why don't you, well, he's shilling what he thinks is hot. You guys can shill into the chat. So, my man, what should we start with?
so a couple ones to start with. I know I'm liking the meme coins like Pepe. I know Pepe led at the beginning of the cycle, so there's obviously Pepe, but then you can also look at the one that's on Solana, which is Frog, FWOG, and then APU. Those two ones I think will do really well behind Pepe if it's going to go for meme coins,
What
and they have patterns on them. So
Frog
Pepe
is
obviously
FROG?
Pep, Pepe looks good. It's FWOG. I'll post it in the chat for you too in case you need it.
F
But the pattern on it looks extremely good. It should be, there's no R. I posted it to you in the DMs.
word. Look at that. Do we have patterns looking left? Yes. And
FWOG. It's
got it.
spelled weird, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the top one there. But on the daily, there's a huge pattern on it.
it's a
Um,
massive bat, and it did everything that we love to see, which is let these crypto go ballistic when they come out, especially if they're going to actually get a following. It's one of the things that I've noticed where they go crazy. This went from pennies to 75 cents, and then they do the full 886 reset. This is just harmonic framework characteristics that I've noticed. that can you then go and do, um, can you at least get a type 1 target? So that's 11 cents. Why not go to target 1? Why not? 31 cents is on FWOG FWOG. And do we have pattern? Yeah. Do we have confirmation? Sure. Right there. And the green line confirmation on the software was at 4. It is a double. Would you just chase it? Is fat finger long that?
Yeah, I mean, so I've been watching this one for a while. Even on the weekly, when you go to the weekly, you had your green triangle and your yellow dots and everything. And on the weekly, it kind of set up nicely, uh, showing down there the divergence and everything. So any retraces, I think, if we get on these, if not, they might just go straight to T1, to be honest. And I never thought I'd be trading this bad of meme coins last cycle, even into crypto. Because last cycle, I mean, the most that we did for meme coins were like what, Doge and maybe Shiba Inu.
Yeah.
But this whole cycle, like at the beginning, which is why I started to trade them more and getting into these S coins, is because obviously the liquidity was there. You saw them moving like crazy at the beginning of the cycle. So for the market, you kind of have to adapt if you want to make money. And I've noticed all of these going absolutely crazy, while some of the main coins that we thought were going to go crazy at the beginning of the cycle didn't really get as much push. So for me, it was more about following the liquidity. And you can see the off the lows on some of these meme coins, they're like 2-3x's versus some of the other coins are not even near as much as that. Some of them, even like Mooding, went up like 6-7x since the bottom.
Yeah, I saw that for sure. That was pretty crazy of what that was. And also always good to kind of check what the market cap is. You go over to Coin Market Cap. That's like what are we talking here? Yeah, 140. What is that? 107, basically $100 million coin. And the rationale is look at the market cap and what could these do? If it's 10, 20, 50 million, can the allocation get it to 500 million? I mean, you got Doge at what's that now, like 30 billion, and you're looking for these to just do the dump or do a pump to get to a billion. And I think that's something a lot of people look at where they're just kind of focused on overall market cap as like a total goal. And then we're doing the harmonic thing, but something like that, we go we're going like 100 million, get to 300 million, half a billion. That's target 1. And I don't have any other way to frame this stuff out other than the patterns. And the patterns in the crypto space have been proving themselves time and time again as like the only real way to measure market action of where is the opportunity. A simple other trend line violation is standard technical analysis 101 of, you don't fight the downtrend until you can bust it. And something like this, the inflection absolute low was early April, with a secondary low was last week. And that might be the acceleration trigger. We talked about that of why this was so critical. That was what was that, Thursday? That was just Thursday in a lot of these. So we're entering a really interesting time with these setups. You got patterns looking left, doing an extended kind of basing formation. That's okay. What I want to focus on is where is the acceleration from this, and then jumping on it at that point to do this kind of move. They're not all going to go the same at the same rate, but with the pattern looking left, that kind of a setup. XA level for me, I would look at that and say chances are maybe we get a retest to 9.7. It's a retest to the XA level, but that would be about it, and then get it moving. So I like that. What was the other one you said?
There's a couple. There's a APU.
Ah,
Um,
yes.
I have a few that we can look at, but APU did really well, and it's on Ethereum. Or it's sorry, it's on Solana, I believe. But that one's doing really well. It looks like it's setting up for a pretty nice move. And that's how I would probably look to trade them too. Like you said, if I'm not in it, if it retests that XA level and gives you a nice entry on those with confirmation, some of these look really good for continuation up to at least T1. And a good thing for me to notice that these were going to go is when you look at just others. Others is like everything but the top 10 market cap coins to look at altcoins. And obviously, meme coins have shown their hand this cycle and have been going extremely well, even though it's a meme coin. They're worthless. They just make people laugh and people relate to it and buy it in the age nowadays. So they're going extremely well. Like this one has a huge bat pattern on it too. There's the Popcat on Solana. But yeah, just others has
There's
a
yeah
had a huge
others.
bat on it on a daily.
Yeah, massive bat on the daily.
The
What?
T1.
Yeah, at T1, which is 295 billion. So today's pretty important. Yesterday it hit target. We typically see these things go to target too. So this is just a first day kind of a thing. I wouldn't even think this thing's going to back off until we get one bearish candle. And then again, looking left here, you have patterns. You have, look at all, we talked about this last week too, where eventually coming back, retesting the bat pattern takes it to 383 billion. So if this is going to be kind of that speculative time for this, go now, and get higher than target one, and then the weekly is look at this on the even the weekly is even cleaner. And so last week was T1 hit it finally, but you would just wait for even a red candle. So that's I like what's going on there. You have patterns looking left. That's the others, guys, without the top 10. And there should be a T coin index. Should be like a, take out the top 100. That would be interesting.
It'd
Um,
be interesting to see if they had one or like a meme coin index or something like that
yeah.
to look at the dominance of the meme coin market versus everything. But I
Yeah.
mean, you can just go to even CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko and go to categories, and you can see that meme coins they have about $19 billion of market cap right now. Or sorry, they have looks like 80 billion of market cap,
Hmm,
19 billion in volume in the last 24 hours,
amazing.
which
Amazing.
is wild. So it's a huge category and it has a lot of volume.
Yeah, the other one, we Pons and I did a stream back in October, so check that out because most of those played out for a big surge within the like 6 weeks following that, and we were talking about stuff like Myro, which was which seems like now that's ready to go. I really like this one too because you're deep still in the hole. Two patterns looking left, beautiful confirmation. That confirmation was 1.7. It was just down there 5, 6 days ago when we first started talking about this. And even in a small recovery bounce, that's a double to 7. But let's say it goes crazy. I'll bring up that moon dang in a second. But again, with the patterns, guys, this gives us really clear upside objectives of what's possible. Myro to go to 20 cents. We're not, any other market, I would say that's crazy. But I just don't think that if this is going to go now, that's possible. That's not, pie in the sky. Here's your moon dang, which was, and this had no pattern, but the low was 2.5 and now 32 for your easy 16x. I'm still going to stick with the patterns, but that's what's happening. I can't deny it. We can't can't just dismiss that this stuff is not flying now. So get it while you can. Who knows where we'll be a year from now? But this is it's undeniable since that low, and the bigger news of just simply getting the allocation into the market possible is happening. And I think, again, what you want is a bunch of degenerate crypto chasers where we're buying them off the patterns, and then let them, let the late buyers come in. The other one was Based Brett. I know those we talked about. And look, there's Brett. All of them doing the full 886 reset, did a massive move. And I know we were talking about that guy Murad. I guess he was really getting popular fast back in the fall. Um, and he was saying all the way down, buy him and buy him and buy him. I was pretty critical of the guy, but a lot of people are still following him. It's just he does an X post, and he's gets 100,000 or 50,000 people to look at it. And so he's going to brainwash people into buy this garbage. And base
100%.
base Brett here.
I want to agree with that because I think he put a good framework on it, even though some of his coins didn't do as well. Now everybody's talking about them at least. I wanted to add that to what you're saying. So he has people thinking about it this cycle now because he just hammered on it and it blew up for so long.
Yeah, and here's like worst case scenario for something like this, for what we know, how price action does type 1 reactions, and that is a type 1 reaction. Conservative target here, 11 cents. The other thing about crypto that we know, that we've been seeing a lot of these type 1s go to target 2s on crypto. So that helps to frame out, have a clue where it's going. But beyond that, I can speculate on this. My recommendation is just don't go too hard into any one of these. Don't over commit, and then be ready. I think an automatic rule of selling half at target, no matter what, is a good rule of thumb. When I caught the Stellar Lumens move, it was not easy. I had a monster position in that. And when we got to that, I was looking for 21, and it blasted through that target. And I was able to get out like 3/4 at 53. And it pained me. It pained me to sell that. But you're either going to learn in advance or learn the hard way after the fact. And my uh, just best recommendation is line up the levels and be ready, even limit order. Target 1, something like that would be, even if it went to target 2 or blasted beyond, you're going to have plenty of capital to reinvest, go back in, and just be aware of that. I mean, you can be a degenerate, but not, have a little bit of a little bit of discipline. So
Yeah, that's what I do too, Scott. Like I'll maybe touch on that with how I kind of approach these. Is I use the pattern still. It's the only thing that keeps me sane when I'm trading things with names like this. Just be able to find your T1, T2, and if you can get in at a pattern completion and it goes to it, you're usually up 2 or 3x minimum on some of these, if not more. And you take your initial out. Then you don't feel as bad if it goes down. Like when you're buying some of these coins that are just so far fetched, um, you can get your initials out, and then you just have a free position to run if it continues. At least take the initials out. That's worked for me because then you don't have any risk in it. Because everybody talks about how risky they are. They never want to get into it. I finally bit the bullet this past cycle and started trading memes a little bit more than I did last cycle. And once you get your initials out, you don't have any risk in it. So it's not risky if you're managing your risk properly with some of these. If you can get in at the lows like this and hit that 2-3x move and you take your initials out, then you're just playing with house money at that point.
exactly. Here we got SHIB, which is Another full reset 886. The Shark is already in development on SHIB at 1472, 14 millionths of a penny or whatever. And that might be the other consideration. Go with the larger market cap plays. I'm of the opinion that it's pretty easy to determine if something is trending or not. This isn't trending, so I would call this a recovery play, meaning come on back and go back and retest the obvious highs. With SHIB, it's like 30.95 would be from where you are a double, and not a bad play there either. These are looking real good with these patterns, and they're in development, as they say. But give me some super low cap stuff you're currently looking at on chain or otherwise that we might want to
Yeah.
dig into.
So there's a few of them that I'll message them to you so you can see the spelling of them.
Okay.
Just give me 2 seconds. I'll send those over to you.
Okay. While he's doing that and getting some over to me, let's give away one more software, HPC 30. Get 30 days to see what we do in the Discord thread on the gold membership resources, and get 30 days to the software so that you can play along with what we're doing here for free. A bunch of you have taken advantage of it, and I think it's been good. Okay, he's texting me over some house, blub, and lo-fi. Gringo, Nachapa. Hola, ¿cómo está? You got to hit me up over on the Discord. Send me your full name, TradingView username, and email. That's what I need from the other winners as well. But congratulations, Pada Baines, Gringo. And let's start. The Ponzas got us looking at some things I never heard of. I mean, until he told
So
me now.
these are a couple newer ones that are lower cap that I think can do pretty well. But for example, House has a pattern on it that just started. So things like With forever ago, even Fartcoin, like when you go all the way back to when they were first created, even though Fartcoin, funny name, right? They had the Gartley patterns when they first got created. They had the initial hype, and then they form a Gartley or something on like a 4 hour to 1 hour time frame, and they go from there. So this one is brand new. This one just had a lower time frame Gartley on it. I think I saw it on the MEXC, and I don't know if it formed yet, but it's pending. It just now pending. You can probably see it on the 2 hour.
Okay.
If you go to a 2 hour on this pattern, it just formed a Gartley. It just came out. It had a lot of hype initially, so this is something that I think can do well. That's still fairly low market cap. I believe this one's around like 30 to 40 million now.
Okay.
But there's lower caps like this. Obviously, these are a lot more risk, so you don't put as much risk on the table when you're in these. But even just a little bit, these things can go a long way.
I like the check back. You do have an HSI on the daily, first one since this came out. That's around 4.1 cent, and that it's checking back today, so no rush, but get it on the radar. I'll look at that. I mean, I did get myself. I mean, really because of you. Other people were telling me you, Justin. I heard you guys connected. That's really cool. Justin's one of our
Yeah, he's
crew.
awesome.
Yeah, he is, and so I consider myself. Uh, I've actually made quite a bit of money on the MEXC crypto. So get over to MEXC, folks, if you want to get into these second tier stuff. They've got just about everything. Blub. Oh man, look at that.
So some of these coins here, the Blub and the Lo-Fi one, the reason I'm looking at these are because Sui, they're on Sui. So they're meme coins on Sui, and Sui's been extremely strong.
Yes.
Just as a layer one blockchain. So obviously we have Solana that's kind of led this entire cycle. And I think Sui is going to be behind Solana for the next layer one, basically blockchain. And the price action on Sui has kind of shown itself as well. It's been super strong compared to other ones. So I've been looking at some meme coins on the Sui blockchain. Blub is one of them. This one's still super low market cap. It's around 13 million, with an all-time high around like 80. So if Sui picks up traction towards the end of the cycle, there's the meme coins on there like Blub, and then there's the Lo-Fi, which is like one of their main meme coins. These two, and those things, when you see a layer one blockchain go crazy, like if you looked at Bonk at the beginning of the cycle, it's up over 100x. So if we get some of these that, even if you put a little bit of risk in and Sui goes crazy later in the cycle when we get the altcoin rally, some of these meme coins on here can probably easily 10 to 20x.
Look at this thing. Oh my goodness. We should have been talking a month ago because look at Lo-Fi with now this is exactly I don't have patterns on everything, but when I do have patterns, I'm absolutely all ears because there's the type 1 software automated algos picked it up. Now it fits perfectly with the 1-2 framework, and then on the type 2 software is generating it, but the confirmation, the real opportunity isn't until the dot with confirmation there. And even though that got overstretched, overextended, you're down there. First confirmation was 2 cents, then an additional at 6 tenths. But this is what's got me. And something with everybody that has the software or people that are going to get the software. Again, these little formations matter where there's one dot here, there's second dot. That third dot at a higher reading is where we can see acceleration. This is a type 2, by the way. So this one, I mean, I'll watch it. I would feel like I'm chasing a little bit at this levels, but
Yeah.
I would be assuming target 2 at 12.7 cents, no matter what.
And I'm thinking of any retraces on these that they could be good opportunities. If we get a retrace on any of them, it could be a good opportunity. The best thing about Lo-Fi that I like is it actually just got listed on Kraken. So it's on a US exchange where you can actually go on and just buy it there without having to go on chain. So it is on Kraken. It's the only Sui meme coin that's on like a US exchange at the moment. So this one just got added to that
That's
without having to go on the chain and digging through wallets and everything like that.
see, that's why you're here. I wouldn't be able to know that for a year if I was looking for it, but that's exactly why you're here. And again, this kind of stuff too. You know, Coinbase wants to pick these up. They've added a lot of those Murad meme coins. Again, let me just I mentioned Giga Chad, and I'm going to shill my position here, where 2.8, the 2 cent mark. I would think that's got to be a floor, even if we come back now. Maybe I'd get more on that, but that's now on Coinbase. Do you think going on Coinbase hurts or helps these? Like now that this is on.
Um, Personally, I think it. I mean, I think it'll help later in the cycle because it's easy access, right? When people want to buy something and they don't know how, they just get into crypto and they don't know how to go on chain, create a wallet, and do everything like that. If it's on Coinbase, it's easy access, right? They just connect their bank account, deposit, and they can buy it. So last cycle we saw a lot of the Coinbase coins go crazy just for ease of access for buying. Like it's the liquidity is easier to go to Coinbase and just buy it there. So that's one thing I look at when I'm looking at the coins on Coinbase. But then this is on Kraken too, so it's also super easy to buy for the Lo-Fi Yeti and things like that. So I think those can. I mean, if we get a real alt season, some of these can go absolutely crazy.
Yeah, some of the ones
But
that I remember,
sorry.
like sorry that I just that were standouts last time were like the bonk. Nothing
Yep.
there really on.
I mean, last cycle you even had things like Gala and all these other ones that were on Coinbase that went really well. Because I think last cycle we had more gaming coins like Sandbox, all of those that went absolutely crazy that were on Coinbase. This one now we have pretty much like the AI and the meme coins that are kind of taking the place of gaming that people are speculating on. They speculated on gaming last cycle, but there wasn't actually like a real product there for gaming yet that was like good enough to maintain the speculation. So maybe that comes back in the future, but right now people are speculating on meme coins because what was gaming last cycle? It was a meme coin. There was actually no legitimate games that were built. Uh, so that's what I think people are speculating more on memes this cycle. And you don't have the huge overhead of like a VC getting early buys into projects like some of these tokens that only have like 20% released on the market and then they just release it over time and then continue to dump it because they got in early. With these meme coins, all of the supply is on the market. So they can't dump tokens on the market and sell into your buys, which is why you see them probably pump a little bit more too, is because everything's released. All the coins are released.
Yeah. Red saying they list, they earn fees, and then they delist, and yeah, and we've seen that. That's the 886 reset. Someone's asking for ApeCoin, and that's one of those that's right in that category of, they list, they go crazy, they get hyped, and then they come in full reset. But ApeCoin, I'm just going off of patterns. It is what it is. And if I've got multiple patterns looking left, ApeCoin here is just at the XA level at 67. The low was like 35 or something. But last week's HSI trigger, I think this is going to end up being the signal that gets this going for the summer into the fall. And so, why don't you? What do you think about this cycle? How far do we go? When do we really, if we're gonna go, when do we really go into fire stage and full on craziness? What are your thoughts on that?
So I think the total market cap is a very good example to look at. I don't know if you want to pull it up while I go over this, but
Sure.
just total market cap on the monthly for me was a pretty good guide, where it looks very simple. Like you join crypto, you learn a cup of, or you join crypto or trading in general. One of the first patterns you see is a cup and handle. I mean, it's just a clean retest on a monthly level on total. And just based on all previous cycles, around Q4 is when we usually top out. And you get a few months of altcoins going absolutely crazy when dominance starts to fall. And if you go to a monthly level on that and just zoom out on it, it was a very, very clean level that we retested and we're going from as basically a support. And I think we can go until like October, November time. And from there, I'll probably be going risk off. But until then, I think it's going to be go time for some of these cryptos. And I think summer is going to heat up. I think if we do get a little bit of a pullback, that'll be the last time you'll be able to really just position yourself and let it ride for a couple months before end of the year.
Yeah, X, we do some XABCD projection. It's a deep crab in already in formation where minimum 1618, 4.4 trillion is a that there's another minimum level to consider where you still have across the board, I would say, 25-30% upside just to hit the pattern, the deep crab target. Um, last that last retracement phase on the total index had some really nice HSI dot dynamics on the weekly that you go back. I mean, again, with the software, folks, it's designed this way to keep it simple, and you got to respond to the levels. But we talked about why 2.4, 2.5 with the HSI dot there and there and there. You had 3 instances, 4 instances in the last 2 years. Every one of them led to like a 1618 extension. And that's what seems to be shaping up here, where the total crypto market cap um, come back to the most recent swing 886. That's like 3.75. Again, that's not even a stretch. Some of the other kind of phenomenon, harmonic phenomenon going on is we have this really clear expansion. We are technically, yes, we're overbought, but it's at that point where you get to the overbought and you do a serial that is bar over bar move currently to continue. So you ride that. We should see a few green weeks to continue from here. And that's a lot like where we were, I would say, early November, second week in November, and then you did like a 6 week run minimum. So all looking really good. I mean, it just does not. If I was looking at this as any chart, I would say beautiful trending channel on the weekly long term. I would definitely want to be involved with something like that and continue to ride that channel higher. Throws a couple harmonic levels there where 1618 minimum is still. It's not anything we knew we haven't talked about before. But the 1618 up here to get to 4.4 would take you, like I said, a lot higher than current levels. We have a deep crab structure where the we layer that. So a 1618 and a 1902 are, create kind of a zone. And that's like 5 trillion, and that's total crypto market cap. I won't I've talked about what could be crazier than that. I don't want to get ahead of myself because I think we can take it in chunks and just ride it along the way. So, maintain some sanity, some conservative uh, perspective. But everything that's going on, and this is still a Bitcoin allocation cycle where money's going to flow into Bitcoin in terms of asset allocation, Main Street money. That will have a side effect into these other secondary and tertiary T coins where money's just going to flow. People are going to throw the money into that. Combine that with the fact that we're in a post having crypto cycle that should run another 5 months, I think. So we're getting to
Yep.
that point where it's do or die time.
One
Um,
thing, a couple things I wanted to maybe ask you and touch on. I mean,
mm,
Ethereum just went up like 20, 30%, the entire
yeah,
market cap of Solana in like 2 days. So when the money does flow, some of these things, the altcoins, you'll have a few weeks to maybe a couple months that'll go crazy, uh, which was a point that I wanted to tell people. Like with Bitcoin dominance so high, these things can move and they can move fast. But one thing I wanted to ask your thought on, I know at the beginning of the stream you were talking about Bitcoin with the shark. What is your thought process on that shark maybe doing a shark to 5.0, and then from that 5.0 that's full send from there?
got it. Yeah, that we at least pause up at the 886. Um,
Yep.
yeah, that's. I don't think that's a crazy thought. The whole formation of what's going on right now is like this. You have you don't have any W structure. And so that what that makes this current move, I like to call it a harmonic impulse wave that you have the extended down, that's your XA, and then the B to C. That sets up the divergence. That's why the shark works so well because the preceding legs, that's typically a divergence move where then once that's finished, it pops straight up. Your 886 on Bitcoin right there at 105, 300 ish. Here's the thing with that, we hit it 2, 3 days ago. No confirmation, not yet at least. Even after all of that, where I wouldn't think that it's more than a pause. And the other aspect of what's going on the daily, and this is why I look at some kind of relative strength metric to understand, okay, how far can this go? Is it even ready to do a rollover? That it's been strong. I mean, it's been stronger than even I thought in terms of the push. I thought 96K shouldn't be too difficult. I'm thinking that right now, and we're in that 3 to 5 bar window, it's holding up quite well. And I would say after tomorrow, we get to tomorrow or even Thursday, and we don't have a reaction down, which I don't think we will because of the whole attitude has changed. But we're in a 3 5 bar window. Not a bad thought to take it right at the 886, but um, do we have a 3 bar breakdown? No, we tried. No close underneath there. You'd have to be under 101 to do that. And so this is the window. This is the real, literally, we're into a few days here before we can see is the acceleration going to be now, or do we have a little bit of a pullback? And I would say it's a time thing of, you know, hang in there for another day or two with that assumption. But the second we take out that 886, it tells you how strong this thing is ready to rock. So the what he's asking, or just my thoughts here of, is this possible? That's always the assumption looking at a shark, especially because the target one is the 50% number. But sharks fail. They fail a lot. I with especially without confirmation, and the harmonic pause, as I like to call it here, is always a 3 to 5 bar assessment. So that was 3 days ago that you hit that 886. We did have two red candles. Today's a bullish candle. You would want to look at that trade at the 886 here. What do we, hold on, let me get this exactly right. There's the 886. That exact number, I guess that hit yesterday. Did that hit yesterday, the 886, or was that 2 days ago?
So it hit yesterday, and this is my kind of thought process that I'll run you through as well because I enjoy hearing yours at the moment. If we do get that, I'm looking for position in if I'm going to enter anything else. If we do get this retrace, that'll be like the last retrace that we get before I think a full-on alt season. So I'm looking for us to either show strength here, maybe flip that 886 to for continuation, or if we get a retrace here, that'll be the last place to basically put some money on the table if you're going to get in any of these other coins. So this is kind of what I'm looking at because it's like a critical moment right now. We're getting a bunch of good news at an 886. Just for example, if you get a bunch of bad news at like an 886 bullish bat or shark or something, I'm wondering if since the news hasn't pushed it above it yet, are we gonna get a little pause or just retrace, and then from there that's go time.
Yeah, break it down to
So
the
it,
4 hour, and I did notice this, that the 4 hour time frame, we're up here. Let me clean up the chart, and this is where kind of relative, a comparative time frame analysis helps. Now, also having the some if you're using relative strength, I mean that's what I started with, but it evolved to HSI because that just for me worked best with the patterns. We literally printed a bullish 4 hour continuation HSI dot. And so I hear what you're saying. I like to look at 3 time frames, approximate, primary, distal. Distal being the longer, larger approximates like the immediate, and primary, that would be on the daily. But if I break that down and say the 4 hour within that window, what happened was we had beautiful patterns back to back on this 4 hour, undeniable stuff. Shark at the low, which coincided with the daily, weekly numbers. And then we were going back, and I was saying 96K. And what did we do? We printed a crab back to back. But when we hit T1 and we had that little reaction, this is the thing about the patterns that's probably the toughest. How do you know if a pattern is going to yield you a sizable move, or it's just a little air out of the tire, which is what this has done twice now this month. Both of them, I guess you go back to April 1 and then another one too. This could be the third one where um, all it could muster was just a little 2,000, 3,000 point air out of the tire here, setting up, ready to go to actually fail the crab pattern. And this is actually, I was saying this at the beginning of the session, we're going to do a presentation for subscribers, HPC members on how to read fail patterns, because that's a huge part of figuring out what patterns are going to fail. Goes a long way to being able to avoid those that don't work out. They don't all work out. It's not a blind assessment. It's just positioning yourself there. It's probably a great idea, a great contrarian play when everyone's super bullish. You're at a bearish 886. Yes, there should be some type of reaction, but I'm looking at that 4 hour with this reading, immediate dot HSI supports like 101, and then you combine that with the longer term time frame of the weekly, you're up there checking back against the dot. You're a little bearish candle so far on the week, but nothing yet. So I say it's in that 3 to 5 day window that it's coming in strong, and the 4 hour time frame's got some oversold readings already, that it wouldn't take much for this thing to bust it through and fail that shark assumption. um, Great spot to call for the pause, but that could be it. And the other thing about that, it's not going to take, in terms of time, it takes maybe maximum 2 more days before you really know. You make that assessment, and then on the 4 hour time frame, you got a lot of things there that say that kind of scream failed pattern already, which is especially what it did, how it responded to 96K. It had just another little pause, comes down. It just can't do much. I mean, that 96K, and I was thinking this, that it was back 10 days ago. I was thinking like maybe this could come back to 88, 89, maybe
Hey Scott,
86.
they're saying that your volume's super low right now.
Hold on.
So and that mine was super high. So if you wanted to fix
Let
that
me
real
check.
quick, I just wanted to say it real quick
Thank
before we
you.
can continue.
I don't know what else did I do here. But that's what I'm thinking. What are you thinking while I fix all of this? Hold
Yeah,
on.
yeah. So I mean, I was thinking the same thing. I think it's a pivotal like point right now where like, yes, are we going to get a little retrace off of that within these next few days, or are we just going to continue and blast past it? But I think it's something to keep your eye on. Because if we do get one more push down, I think that's the last push down that you're going to get before we go. Um, and that's kind of my thought process with this. So for me, that was, if I was trading anything that was higher risk, I did take some off the table, but obviously just the buy and holds like still in it. Um, but it's just something that arose to me, and just from last cycle, I remember we had this initial push when we were going to start alt season, and then we did have a little bit of a retrace, and then that last retrace from last cycle, about 4 years ago or so now, was the last buying opportunity before altcoins really went. So that's the only thing I'm looking at. I'm kind of basing it just on experience from the last few cycles. Obviously, if you're buying and holding, uh, these things look good. But just from a trader's aspect, this is what I'm kind of seeing a little bit more on the daily 4 hour. We can maybe get a little bit of a move down. And if we did get a bullish 5-0 from that, that's go time.
Yeah, that would be the big confirmation. I don't know why my levels are a little bit lower. I don't know what the hell's going on there. But yeah, I do think that it's a great idea. I would love to see that. That would be back at 96. But the you know the weekly, excuse me, the daily confirmation is just not ready. I mean, it's not. I would look at it as the indicator should roll over, come down. We should be out of the zone of this overbought reading on the 4 hour chart. I don't, that's not a problem for me just yet. Ideally, the 5-0 would be great. 5-0 would be something that would be, by definition, a big continuation pattern to launch it. The one thing, though, about that shark is that it can just keep going. So
Yep.
I'm trying to bring together those two aspects and not get over my skis here, but don't really have. If it was an ideal bearish reading, we would have HSI, we would have a dot right up here at 105, and I do think 105 is the number. I'm more uh, just I would think that that's anything that happens there is only a reaction. But the 4 hour time frame is probably where I'm on for all of these going forward, looking for continuations because that's where you're going to see whether or not it's just a simple little retrace or something larger is happening. For the 4 hour time frame, 103,500 is the top end, and we're at 104. And there is nothing above this. That's the bigger thing. There's nothing above that 104, 105 level, and you're damn close. I mean, you're super close. Um, what do you think about Ethereum? Do you think this has is it going to have a second life and eventually get back to 4K, or is
I
it just
personally think so.
yeah?
I think so. It hit an all-time 886 for Ethereum versus Bitcoin. When you just pull the fib from all-time price action, like we came
Mm-hmm.
all the way down to the 886. So for me, I think, yeah, we're going to show some life. But if you're zoomed all the way out and you just fib the entire thing, like we came all the way down to the 886. And Ethereum versus Bitcoin, not just the versus the dollar, but it reversed right at it. So I think it's gonna show some life again. And you have a harmonic pattern on it. And why not? I mean, this looks like some of the other meme coins and other things we went over earlier. Even all the main crypto right now are having large harmonic bullish patterns on it. Leading right into that time of seasonality where we do have altcoins and everything else run towards a end of a cycle, and money kind of goes down the risk curve, and that's what I'm seeing. So I think Ethereum will do well. They have an upgrade very soon. I think they always have an upgrade. I don't know if it's going to make it faster or if it's going to get a little bit more light like Solana. I haven't looked into it, but you came down to the monthly. You had the hop. Yep, there it is. There's the hop on the monthly Gartley, and I think it's going to come back up. And if this goes back up, it's going to bring altcoins with it extremely fast in the next few months.
Now that's the typical metric everyone else is looking at. They're looking for this ratio to start moving in the other direction to get the alts running, correct?
Yeah, and that's how it has typically gone for the previous cycles. This one was a little bit harder on ETH because we kind of had Solana kind of steal the show. But I mean, it still looks good. And when ETH goes up, you're going to see a lot of these alts go with it.
And then so long term, everyone's talking about SUI being like the next Solana or Ethereum. Are any other plays like SUI we should be looking at?
Yeah, let me pull up the list I'm looking at here. But I mean, SUI is probably my favorite one. I think SEI is setting up pretty well. But SUI is, I've kind of consolidated a lot of mine into that one because I trust that one the most. I mean, even the Aptos, APT, the
Mm-hmm.
founder of that just bought a bag of SUI So he just bought Sui. So that kind of like reconfirmed something for me. Um, but Sui, I think, is the one that I've kind of just consolidated into instead of spreading it all around, because that's the one that's basically been showing its hand. So I think that one's going to be the one that goes next. And they have, I know you don't jump on the blockchain a lot, like actually on the blockchain, but Sui has all of the infrastructure built that like Solana does, where you can launch coins and do all this stuff on chain too. So it's not like they don't have anybody on there, like any developers building stuff on the blockchain. They actually have a whole infrastructure already built. So if people do go to Sui, I think it can handle it. And that's the one thing I'm looking at with Sui too.
And what about what are your thoughts on things like XRP and the like?
I think those are going to be doing. I think all of them are going to do extremely well the next few months. XRP, it's one that's been around forever, right? I personally don't hold any XRP or anything like that, but they do go and they do pump pretty hard. Um, I usually, because for me, the way I do it is I like to play around on the ecosystems, like on chain. Just being into crypto, and I've done it for a long time. I like to hold like an underlying asset, then I can use that money on the blockchain. So like for example, I bought Solana early in the cycle around like, I don't know, 10 to like $20 were my average buys. And then as that multiplies in Solana price, I have more money that I can buy some of these meme coins with on the blockchain. So I'm kind of hoping to do that with Sui. I know XRP now, you can also go on the blockchain and buy stuff too. Uh, but I think XRP like just fundamentally looks good, and with the patterns on the higher time frame looks great too. It's just a matter of which horse is going to be the fastest. It's like you got to bet on the horses now, which is going to be the strongest one at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when you got patterns there, XRP, I was in that last fall, got out. And I know friends of mine are like, yeah, you hold XRP forever, it's going to $100. I can't really tell you that one way or another. And I'm going to trade these more than anything else. But there were patterns. Solana had big patterns at the lows. XRP had the big patterns where I was basically saying anything under 60 cents was, you had massive stuff there. I mean, there's the XRP chart where uh, that's the definition of patterns looking left. Beyond that, of does that go to 100 or even $10? I can't say. For me, it was a measured opportunity where I was just saying, okay, you got all this stuff, you got XRP here. It did the way I would look at it, it did a 1618 advance to $3, and for me that was good enough, and I had size there, but I can't, I'm not somebody that can hold on to that and just assume that, okay, I want to ride that. It was a 50% drawdown. For me, that was a six-figure position, and I just not going to screw around. I'm going to take the profit, move to the next one. And I kind of agree that the whole crypto space is speculation. Even Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin's, you'd have to say, is now an established asset class. But if I'm going to speculate, I'm going to go with that other, go with the lesser names to try to hit the multiple percentage moves. I know one that you talked to me about last year was Ondo. You still feeling good on Ondo?
Yeah, so that's one of my larger ones as well. I really like Ondo. They had a beautiful shark that completed that I was waiting to kind of re-enter and put some of my capital back in, and I got back in around like 76 cents. It's ONDO, yeah. But yeah, I'm in that one again, and I've been holding that one. So I think just on a weekly time frame, like it looks great, right? You have higher highs and higher lows from the whole inception of the chart. So it's still trending upwards in the high time frame. And then you have the patterns completing, and you're flipping right now that the level. So I think it looks great.
Yeah, Ondo, another one with patterns looking left, and then HSI triggered about 7, 8 days ago. So, again, that's how I would play it. I mean, you have a much deeper knowledge on the application, or what's even better, it's your knowledge is excellent because you know what the crowd is thinking about these. You have which is, I always like to hear, like, what's everybody thinking about this, or how are they perceiving it? Something like people favoring SUI as an up and coming, challenger to Solana or Ethereum. That kind of knowledge, and then you mix it in with the patterns to give you the levels where to get in. I think that's the best usage of it all. Whether or not this stuff all plays out in the super long term, maybe it does. A lot of them don't, but for tradable speculation opportunities, that's how I look at the information. I'm not going to be say anything that is that I know beyond that, but I think I know enough with the patterns to know, hey, these markets are moving, and then utilize the patterns to jump in at the right areas. And God forbid when we get to those target price level objectives, that's been my best aspect of the crypto space, is that I've taken the profits. And for me, I've said this before, I caught the big Doge run in 2020 and was getting out at 50, 60 cents when everyone was saying it was going to $1. And that just substantiated everything I believed from the beginning, that, you get to target, the patterns work. As a trader, no matter what market you're trading, you got to take it. And this will be the same. So, uh,
Yeah, that was part of my learning process too, right? When I first started, I was just doing research and looking at things, and I mean, even with the stock market, that's where I kind of started, and just doing research, like things like Tesla. And when I got into crypto, I would do more of the fundamental analysis, like what are people talking about, what are the fundamentals of it, how does it work, and then once I learned all that, I would find good plays, but then I was like, where the heck do I take profit on these? Where do I buy? Where do I sell? And that's kind of what led me down multiple different strategies. And then I finally found the Harmonic books and trading. One of my buddies would always find reversal points in the market, and he would use the harmonics. And so I kind of learned from him until I shot over. I'm like, where'd you learn it from? The books. Then I read the books, started following you and everything. And that was kind of my whole process that led down to it. Okay, I can find things, but where do you buy? Where do you sell? How do you keep some structure around it? And that's kind of where it led. And these patterns have been a blessing for it.
right on, right on. Awesome. Well, anything else you want to leave us with? Any
No, I think
gems?
that's it. For any gems, I think that the two I showed on Sui, I think are extremely well. The lower cap ones that are going to be gems, and I think just Sui in general, if you pay attention to it, it's going to do extremely well. Um, Longer term this cycle. So I wouldn't overlook it. I think Sui is going to be right behind Solana in terms of layer one blockchains that's going to go up in price. But the Lo-Fi, the Blub, and then there's a couple others on there. I can hop in your Discord if people want to look at some of them, and maybe just chat with them about them in the future. Because there's always some that pop up, and maybe I'll pop in there a little bit more and try to keep you guys up to date with some of the ones I'm looking at too.
Yeah, why don't you pop in a Discord link for your Discord server, because he runs a great one for exactly this kind of stuff, and pop that in the chat. And
Sounds good.
yeah, and then let's circle back in a month or two, see where we're at. I always like those 20 those seasonal equinox dates. We did it again in the last couple of months. The 21st of December was a top. 21st of March, generally the bottom. I think we're in a rally until June 21, and that would probably be a good time to get you back towards the end of June.
Sounds like a plan. Thanks for having me, Scott.
You got it. Thank you, buddy. Great to have
Have a good one.
everybody. Get over to the ponds over there. Okay, he's over at lieutenantponzi.com. There you go. Thanks, man. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Great discussion on this kind of space. It's not really it's not what I deep dive on, but he does. And that's how I connected with him. Great guy to follow and check all of that out. I really am grateful because he had put me on to some things and he just got me to open my brain that hey, money's flowing in here. People are throwing money. We bring the patterns. You guys see all the patterns we went through. Just countless patterns going on here. So that's what we're doing. And I don't know why. I'm a little frustrated with this setup here. I just don't know what the heck. I see my levels are low. So I'm not going to waste any more time with this low quality audio. But we'll be back on Thursday, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, for the winners of the software, you got to get over to Discord. Everybody else, get me on the Discord. You have any questions, you want to get that recording, make sure to connect with me there. Okay? Awesome. We'll be back on Thursday. We'll talk more market dynamics, maybe dive into some stonks and get caught up on what's going on. It's been an amazing 2025 rebound. And how high is that going to go? We'll talk about that next time. But until then, everybody, thank you. I hope you enjoyed. We'll catch you on Thursday. Hit like, subscribe on the way out, and we'll catch you then. As always, go get 'em.